AquarianRadio.com.
AquarianRadio.com.
Aloha. This is Enki. You know me as Aquarius. And this is our age, the Sata Yuga. Time to celebrate with us. We have programs on all chakra tantra, love styles and relationship choices, counseling strategies and techniques that you can use at home. We have extraterrestrial radio where we deal with alienology, paranormal people, and we have an experiencers network. We have a section called Ancient Aliens, and the programs therein are Enki Speaks, Nimma, the Mother of Humanity, has her program, and we revise ancient anthropology. And most important of all, we have peace paradigms, because this is the age of peace. Harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding. No more falsehoods or derisions. Golden living dreams of visions, mystic crystal revelations, and the mind's true liberation.
This is Enki.
It is I who 300,000 years ago created your race, and 200,000 years ago it was a lot of fun, made it even better with some of the pretty girls. And it is I who saved you from the flood, and it is I and my beloved Nimma and my son Ningashiga Thoth who are here to help you overcome my runaway son Marduk or Allah, my brother Enlil or Yahweh, and free yourself from all the supposed gods and recognize your own great potential. You have much to teach us, and we, Anunnaki, those of us from Nibiru, welcome full partnership.
And here are your hosts, Janet and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Aloha, and welcome to Aquarian Radio at AquarianRadio.com. I am your host, Janet Kira Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson, and this is an episode of Enki Speaks called Introduction to the Anunnaki. Introduction to the Anunnaki is an excerpt from a book that we wrote called Anunnaki Gods No More, which is about techno-savvy extraterrestrials from the planet Nibiru who came to the Earth for gold, created us human beings from their genome to work the mines, posed as gods, then decided to let us drown in the great flood of Noah, but then decided to breed us to work for them. They are long-lived. The Anunnaki are very long-lived. They live hundreds of thousands of years. They're extraterrestrial Homo sapien giants that stand about 8 to 10 to 12 feet tall from the planet Nibiru, and they came here 450,000 years ago and mined gold on Earth. And let's see, today with us is Dr. Sasha Lesson, my co-host, who holds a PhD in anthropology, and fulfilling his promise to our mentor, the late great Zechariah Sitchin, he is letting the world know what the Sumerians wrote for us. Take it away, Sash.
300,000 years ago, the Anunnaki created Earth-adapted, short-lived mind slaves. That's us, from their genome. We called them Anunnaki. That means people from the sky. The Anunnaki taught us hierarchy, who's up and who's not up. They taught us violence. They taught us greed. They taught us slavery. And they taught us debt. They made us worship them, call them gods. 200,000 years ago, Enki, their chief scientist, begat his own line of earthlings, and he exalted them. He begat Noah with Batanash, who was his earthling lover, in 11,000 BC. After Noah's flood, the Anunnaki ruled through Noah's sons and his sons' descendants. Well, the Anunnaki ruined their place. After they ruined their eastern Mediterranean cities with nuclear blasts and then fallout from the blasts, most of them returned to the planet Nibiru. Some stayed, though. They and their descendants rule us. They are the power elite. They rule us to this day.
The Nibiruns modeled obsessive and murderous competition for rule. They taught us to obsess with rank and status. They showed us deadly competition. They made us kill individuals, groups, and whole peoples. They loosed plagues, nuclear bombs, and other weapons of mass destruction upon us. They raised speech barriers and forbade learning. The Anunnaki and their spawn created exclusive and hostile kingdoms and religions to keep us divided. They promoted outright slavery and addicted us to credit institutions to keep us slaving. They bred us as short-term slaves and soldiers. We killed in their names. Their names were Allah, which is the Sumerian Nanar or Marduk, Yahweh, sometimes known as Enlil, sometimes Adad, and Inanna, also known as Ishtar. These were all mining expedition personnel. They were all Nibiruns. They bred us to slave in their minds, armies, businesses, schools, governments, farms, factories, brothels, and building projects. They made us serve them and the royal lines of ever-murderous hybrid rulers and priests, the elite they begat. The ruling elite the gods left on earth to rule us kept us warring with weapons and trade. Their elite give all factions and nations credit to arm and trade. The ruling elite ran religions that promised to bring back the God of their faith and defeat the gods and followers of other faiths.
We can end the power of the lies with which they impoverish us. The ancient scenarios, divide and rule, to this very day makes us deplete our resources, pollute our environment, and wage war. The matrix the Anunnaki modeled makes us recklessly exploit our resources and pollute. The elite and their ET controllers see that we never feel our unity as a planet of peace. The lies of church and state hide technology. Those lies hide knowledge of our ET heritage, and the lies hide information about the Galactic Federation.
Commander Enlil, also known as Yahweh, hated women, and so did his rival Marduk, who's also known as Allah. But some theorists think that Allah is Enlil's number 2 son, Nanar. Others suggest Allah was Enlil's youngest son, known as Adad, Viracocha, or Zeus. Yahweh and Allah, they are both Anunnaki in any case, murdered many. These Anunnaki lacked compassion, showed neither love nor diverse divinity. Other Anunnaki, namely Enki, Ningishita, who is also known as Thoth or Thoth, Ninmah, who's known as Ninharsag, they love us and continue to work to free us from the mental matrix with which Yahweh and Allah have left us enslaved. Bau, B-A-U, daughter of Nibiru's king Anu, died as she treated victims of nuclear fallout from bombs that her mate, Ninurta, also known as Indra, dropped on us. Embrace the oneness of all earthlings, and we naturally stop warring. Our allies among the Anunnaki can, when we stop warring, show us the advanced astronomy, medicine, energy, rocket science, and survival strategies. All of us earthlings descended from the same genitors. Our ancestors, the Anunnaki, and their hybrid overseers, the elite, imprinted on us the same greed, one-upmanship, and dominator consciousness that ran them. They modeled, dictated, and indoctrinated avarice, domination, slavery, competition, hate, and violence in us.
So the Anunnaki dictated this worldview to earthling scribes in Iraq. Back then, Iraq was called Sumer. Some of these Anunnaki, people from the sky, from Nibiru, remain on Earth, and they still control us, and they still control the resources of this planet. The perverse perspective they perpetrate will prevail until we see the matrix that they made. When we see it, then we can nullify it. When we nullify it, we can create a civilized world. In a civilized world, we honor everyone's consciousness. The clay tablets, the gods dictated say that back on Nibiru, a king and his military ruled. That was their model. The gods, the so-called gods, dictated the tales of how 450,000 years ago they got gold from Earth, and how until 300,000 years ago, when they created us for the mines, they shipped the gold back to Nibiru. The tales of their stay on Earth before they made our ancestors, as well as what our forefathers directly saw, imprinted us with the values of this Anunnaki society. Hierarchy, men run things, there's masters, slaves, and enemies. We assume their values, the Anunnaki values: extraction, pollution, monetary monopoly, and obsession with gold.
We progressed when the Anunnaki gave us advanced technologies. Every 3,600 years, they gave us marvelous devices, astronomical and geological information, new crops, new chemistry, and ever more lethal weapons. Suddenly, our architecture, public projects, military training revved up, and we built new cities and temples. Our Sumerian ancestors didn't make up gods who made them literate and told them what to write. Rather than a magic Thanks for joining us today on Aquarian Radio. Thanks for joining us today on Aquarian Radio.